Delicious. Hi, I'm Tom Spellman with Dave Wilson Nursery. Today we're here in San Ramon, California at Devil Mountain Wholesale Nursery for their Edibles in the Landscape Symposium. We have speakers here from all over California discussing how to be successful with fruit trees and edible plants and shrubs in the California landscape. We're going to go around and interview some of the speakers today and hear what they have to say and just enjoy this beautiful Northern California afternoon. Let's all just smile and say citrus.
Citrus.
This is the Four Winds group, Mary Helen, Aaron Dillon. They're major citrus growers in the Northern California district here and supply most of the dwarf and semi-dwarf and you guys
Standard,
do standard citrus to the Bay Area market. All right, now here's the question. This is one I get asked all the time and I always have trouble with it. Okay. If you had to choose one citrus, then that's all you could eat for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Well, I'd choose Meyer lemon if I could only have one. But what I love about citrus is they ripen at different times of year, and so you can have citrus quite a bit of the year. Or, you know, there's oranges that ripen every season. There's mandarins in the wintertime. The Owari Satsuma, there's gold nugget that ripens from April to November. So I'm glad I don't have to just pick one.
Isn't that the truth?
You know, it's the thing about citrus, I think it's so important, is it's all about microclimates. So it really depends on where you are as to what you're going to get the best flavor out of. I agree that the gold nugget is a really fantastic piece of fruit. We really like that mandarin.
You know what? I'm kind of partial to it to myself. I've always enjoyed gold nugget and I had it for years and years. And the amount of time that it hangs on the tree is so incredible. Right. Yeah. And it doesn't get grainy. It doesn't, you know, start to dehydrate. I mean, it keeps its flavor and its juice content are high right into summer. A couple of years in a row now, I've been able to eat my last few gold nuggets and my first satsumas the same week.
Yeah.
And that's pretty incredible. With gold nugget and a clementine and maybe a page and then satsuma, you've got 12 months worth of successive ripening mandarins.
Right. Right. And it's still hard to beat that good old Parent Washington.
Oh, absolutely.
Today we're here with Nancy Garrison. Nancy Garrison is at the Edible Landscape Symposium today, representing the California Rare Fruit Growers and All Things Edible, which is her own edible landscape company. Yep. Tell us a little bit about All Things Edible.
Well, I operate in the South Bay and Peninsula near San Francisco, and I have always been into edibles.
I know.
Since day one, I went to college with Rosalind Creasy.
Absolutely.
We were in the same class, and so I got excited about it real early, and I just have found there's a huge niche for people who can go into people's yards and help them figure out how to create an edible Garden of Eden.
We at Dave Wilson Nursery, we've worked with Nancy for years. So she's been involved in the fruit tastings that we've done, and we've done events together, and it's great to see you out here today, and always a pleasure to have an opportunity to work.
Well, and I want to invite people to our international rare fruit orchard at Prush Park.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful job.
We've got about 100 fruit plants that are edibles from every continent of the world. So to show people what they can grow from the countries they came from, they can grow them here.
Right. Tell them a little bit about where Prush Park is and what the address is and what the hours are.
Okay. So Prush Park is a wonderful farm park, 43 acres in San Jose, King and Story Road, 647, South King Road, and the hours are dawn to dusk, basically. And there's the International Fruit Orchard, the High Density Orchard, which Dave Wilson Nursery really gave us the guidance to establish, and it's doing beautifully. Then we have a Heritage Orchard, which we get all of our sign wood for our annual sign exchange with the rare fruit growers. So, and then there's a Vegelution Farm that's a whole new thing, bringing in all the community to learn how to garden and farm and grow food. So and they have small animals, big animals. It's a great place to go spend a good part of the day.
It's a great facility. I've been there many times, and every time I go, you guys have something new and exciting.
Yeah.
And I always look forward to seeing what's new and what you're doing there.
Thank you,
Nancy.
All righty, it's
Always
good to
a pleasure.
see you. All right.
Well, here at the Edible Landscape Symposium today, Colby Eastman did a wonderful presentation earlier, and I noticed that Colby brought his new book out, so I wanted him to just tell us a little bit about what his book's about today.
Yeah, well, Tom, I got a lot of information from you all, so pretty much it's a collection of ideas I stole from Dave Wilson Nursery.
Perfect.
Or, you guys were a huge help in a lot of the research and coming up with some photography and stuff, so can't say thank you enough, and for the inspiration over the years. It's fun to be part of the community now.
Absolutely. Well, I got to tell you, man, it's a two-way street because, going to Copia and going and looking at some of the wineries that you've been involved with, you are truly an artist when it comes to edible landscape and a real inspiration. So thank you very much.
Excellent, Tom. Thanks for coming over.
Well, we're here today with Giselle Schoninger from Kellogg's, and Giselle did one of the lectures just before mine, and I heard most of it, but I didn't hear it all. Giselle, just tell us a little bit about what you lectured and what you really stressed today.
What I'd like to talk about is how to build and really grow healthy soil. How do we nurture the soil that we want to grow our food in, our crops, our landscape, and how do we really transition from a chemically oriented way of gardening to a more biologically active way of gardening. So by using compost in the soil, by mulching, using organic fertility, all really going back to the basics, the way that we gardened before the advent of synthetics.
Boy, we are absolutely on the same page. That's one thing that I preach in my lectures is getting back to basics, getting back to using some organic material on the soil surface, just promoting things that were done 100 years ago or 500 years ago that people basically just put aside when chemicals all started to become popular. And I can't agree enough. We absolutely have to get back to basics.
It's not enough to say that we're going to feed our plant and have that be at the detriment of the soil. That's not okay anymore. Now we have to transition and think about feeding the biology in the soil and allowing the biology that's been on the planet as long as plants have been there, let them do their work. There's an infinite wisdom in working with nature that we need to enhance instead of try to control, which is what we've really been doing since the 40s.
And I know that you get out and lecture as much as I do or more.
Yes.
One of the things that I have really enjoyed seeing in the last few years is this new influx of people that are getting into edible gardening and getting into organic gardening. And it used to be most of my audience was 45, 55, 65. They had a little bit more money, they had a little bit more land to work with, and now it's everybody. It's teenagers, 20s, 30s, 40s, grandmothers with their granddaughters. Everybody's coming out to learn about edible organic gardening, and I just couldn't be happier.
Well, we're finally here today with Rosalind Creasy. I've been trying to get a hold of Rosalind all day. She's been busy all day. She did a very inspirational speech earlier on the edible landscape, which I just love. I don't think she really even needs my introduction because everybody knows who she is. She's come in today with her two new books, Edible Landscaping, 2nd edition, and Recipes from the Garden. So, Roz, tell us a little bit about your books.
I found I had to write a book on and put recipes in because people didn't know how to cook from a garden. It's different. It's not like going down to the grocery store and say, I'm going to buy 1 pound of this and I'm going to buy 6 of these and so forth. It gives you what it gives you. And yet that was weird because I didn't cook from recipes. So,
I can see that. You go out and cook from the garden. You go out and pick what's ready today.
What my mom and dad and grandmothers taught me. So it was like, what am I writing a cookbook for when I don't use one? So that was really weird, and it was hard to do because, I kept wanting to say, well, you can do it this way, but you could also do this, or this, or this, or this. So, but after years and years of being asked, I started recording things.
This one is an intriguing book, and I loved your first book, and today was the first day that I've seen the new one, so I need to pick one up. Tell us a little bit about Edible Landscape.
I think the biggest difference on this is that people just can't believe how beautiful edible plants are. And I found over years and years and years, unless I put photos in front of them and showed them actual gardens that were beautiful, they didn't believe me. They just didn't believe me, which is why I had to become a photographer.
And you've been a true inspiration along those lines of promoting how beautiful an edible landscape can be. You are definitely the edible landscape queen.
But look, bok choy with tulips. How gorgeous is that? Look at that, a lemon tree arbor that you walk through. I mean, why? You have to have a big lollipop. they're just plastic.
Right.
You can do anything you want with them.
And you know, again, this philosophy goes right along with what we preach in backyard orchard culture. That it's just another style of horticultural management. Where you make things fit
But in the front yard.
situation that you want, where you need it. You know, an espaliered lemon or a lemon arbor, or you know, using a cabbage or bok choy as borders. And just you know, the beauty of vegetables and fruiting plants and trees in the landscape. It's every bit as beautiful as something that's just ornamental.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
It is as ornamental, and it belongs in the front yard and the back. And I started doing it because I had no sun in the backyard. I had neighbors' big trees. So basically, okay, I'm a landscape designer. I have to make it beautiful. Otherwise, the neighbors are all going to get bent out of shape. This is 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I found by putting great big artichokes and then putting pink cosmos behind it, people didn't even know what the edible plants were anymore. Americans.
Right,
It's really
yeah.
sad. They
Yeah.
don't know what most of them look like.
Oh, sure.
So you can get away with murder in most cases unless you have tomatoes or you have an apple tree. Then they know that. And they know lettuce, but other than that, you can have rows of carrots and nobody knows.
You put artichokes and rhubarb and asparagus and things in the landscape, and people,
Just
think it's just a pretty plant, beautiful
Right.
ornamental.
Yeah. Right.
I can't thank you enough for being here today and for being so inspirational. I've looked at you with wide eyes for years and years and years, and you've done an incredible job, and we just appreciate all the wonderful promotion you've done toward Edible Landscape.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosalind.
All right.
So here's the main reason we're here today, for my old friend Ed Livo. Ed and I have been palling around for many years. We've been working together at Dave Wilson Nursery for many years, and Ed's now here as sales manager for Devil Mountain Wholesale. And Devil Mountain carries a great selection of fruit trees, and we're here for the Edible Landscape Symposium today. So Ed, just tell us a little bit about the event. Tell me what inspired it and what you've done.
Well, inspiration, man, has to be, from the past. I mean, we created great moments with the Dave Wilson Nursery, of course, in the past, and really bringing it here to the Devil Mountain and becoming, or making the opportunities that we learned and experienced available to the customers that come in here. For instance, the landscapers, architects, designers, contractors, they all really need, I think, a closer understanding of the things that, we learned. And so Devil Mountain has been a perfect place for me to be able to take all those things and implement them and make them available to these people that are so important in getting these messages out, to the community. So, I'm real grateful for the past and real excited about, the present.
Absolutely, and I have to agree with you. Landscaping is such a faceted field. I mean, these people have so many things they need to be responsible for and knowledgeable for, and fruit trees are really one of those things, or edibles in general in the landscape are one of those things that they don't have as much knowledge as they really should.
No, you're right.
So an event like this is just perfect, and I just finished my presentation a few minutes ago, and I can't tell you how appreciative everybody seemed and how receptive everybody seemed, and I think it's a great event, Ed. Thank you very much for putting it on.
Oh no, and I thank you so much for being here. And of course, all the Dave Wilson Nursery friends. It's very important that we keep the relationships going, because in the industry, I think what we need more of is cross information, and I think that's what we're doing in this event. Is we're taking and rather than just dealing directly with the retailer, we're dealing with the architect, the designer, the contractor, who maybe you go visit a garden or go visit somebody's house who's been designed, and you'll just get inspired by their work, and you'll want to take and do it in your yard.
Oh, absolutely. And to take some of these people and the genius, the information that they have in their minds as far as design, and to be able to incorporate edibles into that, it's only going to advance where we go in the future with this.
I think so too as well. Great. Well, thank you as always, man.
Thank you, Ed.
You got it, man.